Andrew Leeds is known for so many amazing roles. And the weird thing is, I don't know if you find this, Andrew, people discover you on different shows. So I can say what shows you've been in, and someone's going to be like, yeah, I know him from Veep. No, I know him from Barry. And then someone else is like, wait, he was Christopher on Bones. But here's what's amazing. And this is really amazing if you think about your industry right now. You are on 2 network shows simultaneously. Like, who does that? That's you're playing Peter on A Million Little Things and David Clark on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. I mean, really, holy shit.
Yeah, that was actually probably I was helped by the pandemic there because they, both shows shoot in Vancouver, and how it actually happened was the showrunner of Zoe's reached out to all the other showrunners who had Vancouver shows and said, hey, since, it's really hard to fly people back and forth and there's quarantining, why don't we share people?
Wow.
And so they're all like, that's a great idea. And the showrunner, DJ Dash of A Million Little Things said, can I take Andrew Leeds? And he said, yeah, sure. And then nobody else was traded after that. So I was literally the Austin, the creator of Zoe's, never got anybody in return. Not only did he never get anybody in return, but he was supposed to get a couple people from A Million Little Things. And Disney was like, we don't think it's safe to share people on sets. And then I was like, the hospital was like, yeah, but Andrew's going to your set. So,
right.
And they were like, yeah, well, yeah.
We could risk him.
Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, so that's how I was very lucky that happened,
But isn't it the same COVID protocol? I mean, in case you recognize me, I do a lot of extra work. And I've noticed that like the protocol just for being an extra, I mean, I literally walked behind Mariska Hargitay on Law and Order, and I had to get 2 COVID tests, quarantine. They kept me in this little area. I wore a mask the entire time, took it down for 2 seconds, and I was outdoors the whole time. Yeah. It's like, I'm a stupid extra. I can't even imagine what you guys go through. What is the protocol?
I mean, we were getting tested 3 times a week. It depends. All the shows are a little different, but on Zoe's, we're getting tested 3 times a week. And although I just shot something down here in LA where we had to get tested 2 days in a row before going to even the costume fitting. It was always like, you have to do 2 days in a row. And then eventually you went into a rotation, and then, you wear masks, but, and now people are vaccinated. So that's good. But,
But SAG doesn't seem to care about that. I've noticed. Because of course, more extra work. I said, I'm vaccinated. They said, no, you got to go for the 2 tests, the whole thing, because they haven't caught up to the vaccination people yet.
I know, that's true. No, and I guess, look, you can still have it and you can still give it to somebody if you're vaccinated. So, so I guess I don't see that going away anytime soon, probably. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Better safe, I guess.
Well,
sorry.
You were on Cooper's favorite English show. She only watches British shows, so it's her favorite show ever right now, Zoe's.
Well, okay, wait. It's my second favorite show because Better Call Saul is like the greatest show ever written ever.
I can see why you would like. Just based on the lighting that's going on behind you,
right?
Like you would like Zoe's because it's
LGBTQ, everything back here. Yeah,
color palette. Like, is that right. Lighting? Is that lighting? What you've done back there?
Mm-hmm. I have a lighting designer. Yeah.
And her book is back there. That's just out now.
Yeah, that's my book, my new book that just came out.
What is it about?
It's called Celebritocracy. It's about the world of celebrity. You should read it.
What about it?
Actually, this is my 7th book, and who's doing the interview here? And I had a book that was a bestseller called The Cult of Celebrity, where it really dove into like why people care about celebrity, like why the Kardashians became the Kardashians, and it's all based on like research and whatever, and where that all started. And
I love that. That's so fascinating.
So my publisher was like, you should do a follow-up. So the follow-up is a little dirtier because it's about like all the celebrity causes that were just like a disaster. Celebrities getting involved with causes, and you're like, wait a minute, you're not a scientist,
right?
You're just a celebrity. So that's why, I mean, there's a reason why George Clooney walked away from Darfur, because he realized that he was, he cared, but he didn't know enough about it. They didn't take him seriously because he was just some good-looking guy from Hollywood. They did not listen to him.
Wow.
So the book is basically about all these different stories, all these different celebrities that they meant well. They really meant well, but when they actually got to whatever they were doing, wherever they were going, they didn't matter there, and they couldn't really affect anything. So
wow, that's really, really interesting. That's really cool. Wow. Very cool.
It's a good book. I mean, I was it was in like I got really great coverage, and it's doing pretty well. It just came out, and it's still doing pretty well.
Got an audio book and everything.
Yeah. Well, actually, an audiobook that somebody else read, because I had auditioned for my own audiobook, and they were like, no, bitch. No, that's not happening.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wow.
I'm like, I do voiceovers. I'm in radio. They're like, yeah, this girl's a professional book reader. So thank you
crazy.
anyway. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really, really insane.
They like actors for that sort of thing, as you can imagine.
Well, and you were in my favorite TV show of all time, which is Silicon Valley. So I got to know, how is the app Sliceline doing?
You know, it's funny. What happened exactly? I got a call one day from somebody, and they said, "Hey, I perform at this company called the Groundlings, which is a sketch and improv theater in LA." And somebody there was like, "Hey, my somebody I know wants to talk to you. They think you'd be really helpful in helping them write." No, they said what did they say? They said they wanted me to. They were just doing some research, and they thought it would be good to talk to me, and they'll pay you. They'll pay you for this. And I said, "Oh, okay, sure." They were like with a marketing firm, and so okay. And so they started asking me a bunch of questions about pizza, and what my favorite pizza is, and what do I like about it? And the funny thing is, my favorite pizza is, I love Domino's pizza. So, by the way, while we're on, at some point on this Zoom, I want to blast Postmates a little bit, because I think they're really, I think there's corruption going on there, and I'd like to spread the word. Yeah, I've decided I'm going to unleash a little bit.
Good. Sounds like my next book. Go ahead.
On the world, I'm like, it's like enough's enough. Like, enough. We'll get that in a second. Okay. Anyway, so they said, I said Domino's, and they kept asking me more and more questions. They couldn't tell me what it was for. Ultimately, what I realized is that they had seen Silicon Valley, and they just thought, because I developed a pizza app on Silicon Valley as the character, that I would be the person to talk to about how to develop their new ad campaign, which it turned out was for Domino's. So I was actually sort of the perfect person, because I said my favorite pizza was Domino's, and they were like, "And if you had to write like a commercial, like, how would you make it funny?" And I was like, then I realized, I was like, oh, they're trying to get me to write a commercial for them. This is weird. Anyway, but that job, Sliceline, did lead to me getting paid $400 by some random company.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
All right, what's your beef with Postmates?
So last night I go to order on Postmates, and I generally don't deal with them, because I've had other issues with them, and they're not good at customer service. You can't call them, you can't chat with them. DoorDash, on the other hand, you can get someone on the phone, you can chat with them, and they handle everything like that, right? Right. Some places only work with Postmates, and this is really where I want to get down to it. Whoever's working with Postmates, you guys got to either also add DoorDash or Uber Eats, or cut out Postmates. So I see it's got a $5.99 delivery fee. Okay, I'm fine with that. But then it says for $9.99, I can get unlimited delivery for the month, free delivery for the month, right?
Right.
Okay, so now I'm thinking, well, maybe I should add that, because why not? That seems like a good bet. Then I'll try to do Postmates again during the month. So I add the unlimited delivery. When I add the unlimited delivery, which cost me $9.99, it gets charged to my card. The price of my order went up by about $6. And I was like, that's weird, because the delivery fee of $5.99 is gone. But then where it says taxes and fees, if you click on that, now suddenly there's a charge for $10.40, an additional $10.40 charge.
For what?
For not a delivery fee, but a service fee.
Okay.
So it took off the delivery fee, added a service fee. And I took screenshots of both, because then what I did was, then of course I was like, well, I want to get rid of the unlimited. I don't want to spend more money, but you can't get rid of the unlimited once you have it. I canceled it, but it's still there. So then I had to go and order from a different account, because to verify also that I wasn't seeing things.
Right.
And I saw that I was in fact paying less when I didn't have the unlimited. And what was I going to say? But so my whole thing is that there's a lot of people that have unlimited, and they don't realize that they're paying more
for the
unlimited.
Right. It's a scam. That sounds like such a scam.
Class action situation is what it sounds like. Yeah. And I'm going to tell everybody that'll listen.
No, you should. I mean, you should like find an attorney. That sounds like a class action lawsuit. That's definitely a scam. Something's wrong.
By the way, I emailed them to say I want my money back from the Unlimited, and I haven't heard back from them. Like, you can't get a hold of them. Like, what? This is like a major company, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, there's a monkey in a room banging on a computer. I'm convinced. Like, you cannot call them. You can't email. They do not exist. They're just like sort of in the ether somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so that's my beef with Postmates. And you know what? I don't know. I don't know what to do about it.
And you can't get anybody on the phone. That's the problem.
You can't even, I don't even know. I'm going to see right now. Did they reply to my email? Let's see. I did go on Twitter, but
Good. I was going to say Twitter should be your next step.
Nothing. No email. Not even a confirmation email that I emailed them.
Because I don't know if do you know Chris Redd? From SNL. Yeah. Okay. So Chris Redd went on a tangent on his Twitter where I guess he'd ordered a hoodie and it still hadn't gotten there in months. So he basically was making like jokes about it, but he's like, "Hey, where's my hoodie?" He's like, "You just sent me an ad for a new hoodie, but you didn't send me the old hoodie. Why don't you just send me some thread? I'll make it myself." Right. And he kept tagging them. And my guess is that when they realized who he was, which is so shitty that you have to like be famous to get attention. But but once they realized who he is, I'm sure that they were like, "Here are all the hoodies we can possibly give you." So I think definitely go to Twitter and let Postmates have it. I would.
I'm following for that, but I feel like I'm not going to let up about this one because my I don't care about the $4 or $5, but it really frustrates me that there's a lot of people out there that have no idea that they're paying more money. It's really like terrible. And maybe it doesn't happen all the time. Maybe it was a glitch. Maybe.
No, I think it's I think it's intentional. And and then if you call them and ask, they say it's a COVID charge, which means we're not making enough money, so we're going to find another way to give you like a service fee, an extra service fee. Yeah, no, it's really frustrating. And DoorDash is the opposite. Like DoorDash, I remember one time I ordered and my food just didn't even show up, and they were like, "Credit, and then your next one's free." I was like, I didn't even know. All I said was it didn't show up. They're like, no, credit, next one's free. Like they push it on you.
DoorDash is a dream. They're great people. I think they're great people. I think they listen. They may go out of business because they give too many people credits.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, I think you should send an email from your work email, andrew@nbc.com. That will get right through, and then they will definitely email you back.
That's a great idea. I'll definitely do that.
Or you can let me handle it. I'm a big complainer. I love to complain, and I'm really good at it. I'm really good at I get a lot of free shit. Yeah, I'm very good at complaining to the right people, and I'm tenacious.
That's very good. I'm glad that you're on top of it. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna as soon as we get off here, I'm gonna have to tweet them again.
It's frustrating. It's like, because it's such an obvious scam and they just slip it in there. And you're right. A lot of people probably don't notice. They're probably just happy to get their food.
And it does just seem like a scam, right? If you're really thinking about it, because they know that they're adding a different fee. They're like, it'd be one thing if they just said like, but they're like calling it something different. They're hiding it within the tax. It's like it's not like a separate fee. It's taxes and fees. Like, right. It's bad.
Which could be any amount. It's a random amount. It's like taxes and fees. And now, so what's the fee and what's it for? And why is it so much?
Yeah. It's a bad situation.
Doesn't feel good.
Doesn't feel good at all. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. Well, there you have it. So what else are we going to talk about?
Okay, that's good. I just wanted to say one thing about Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, if you don't mind.
Please.
I wouldn't say I'm like a sociopath. I'm not an emotional girl. I didn't cry at Titanic. I didn't cry at The Notebook. I don't cry during movies.
She doesn't cry at funerals.
I don't cry at funerals. I'm just like, what? I'm here to pay respects. I'm not here to cry. You know what I mean? I'm not that kind of girl. And I have to say, probably, American Pie is probably one of my least favorite songs in the world. Like my dad used to play it and I was like, shut this shit off. The finale, when you guys did American Pie and you were like handing off the song to each other around the house, it was so brilliant and so intense and so well handled. Bawling my eyes out. I got on the air that night and I was mad. I was like, I cried at a television show. Like I didn't cry at any movie. I didn't cry like my grandma died, I mean, bawling my eyes out. Like what happens on set? What is it about? Do you think I think it's because they get people that can act and sing and they know how to draw the emotion out. Maybe that's it. but maybe it's the writing. I don't know. What is it? Why did I cry?
What do you think it was?
I don't know, because my parents are alive and well, so it wasn't it. I was gonna say PMS, so screw you, Anthony. I don't know. I think the characters are so well developed and they're so relatable that by the time they got to the point that they were experiencing it, you felt like you were experiencing it with them. And then there's something about music that just touches 100%. People.
I think it's music. I think it's for some reason we all understand music in a way that it's almost a clearer form of communication or clearer form of emotion than words are, right? So at least I think so. So
right.
It can. Music's an interesting thing, but yeah, certain types of music can move us in certain ways. So I think that's a big part of it. I also think you probably were. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's an element that what was moving about it for me was just the amount of work and effort that went into doing that, and everybody working together to do it. And maybe that came across in some way, even if you didn't, subconsciously, maybe you felt that there were all these people, whether it was Mary Steenburgen or whether it was the prop person who had to move the table in the middle of the scene so it looked like time was passing or whatever it was, or it was the background person drinking the glass of wine, to the choreographer, to this lighting designer who had to change the lights in the middle of it, maybe you sort of realized what that was, and being somebody who's an artist yourself and being involved in this business, maybe that experience translated to you in some way, possibly.
Yeah. I mean, you guys do something really special there. I have to say, like, my mother's a Broadway theater producer, and I grew up going, I'd rather be kicked in the head repeatedly than sit through a musical. Just so you know. Yeah, I'm not into it. She's produced so much music in my life. I've sat through all of them. And
what are some of the music? I love musicals, and I grew up doing musicals. What are some of the musicals that she's produced?
She did Ragtime. She did War Horse. She did just tons. Just recently, Be More Chill. Like, she's produced.
What's your issue with musicals?
I just find them corny. It's just like the idea of, like, all of a sudden you break in a song, and it just feels so disingenuous to me. It's just
some
not
of them are like that, but but there are others that are all sung through, for example, that are not, that are more dramatic, right? I personally think there's a lot of corny musicals out there that are not really for me, but then there are others that I think are more like Billy Elliot. Somebody was talking about yesterday, the other day. Like, that's a very dramatic musical that, like, sort of feels like people should be singing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Did you ever see that? I don't know if you saw it. You probably didn't, because you hate them.
But you started on Broadway. So, the fact that now you're singing, acting, dancing on television, are you jonesing to get back on the stage?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And this has been a great, warm up for that. I think it's been really, it's like going to, like, theater camp, because, like, we have to rehearse everything, and, it's like, it's so fun. The show's so fun to work on, Yeah.
I'll bet.
So, yeah. I would love to get back on stage. Sure. Yeah. I get to scratch that itch a little bit at the Groundlings, because I get to do, sketches there, and I write musical sketches and things like that. So I get to do that there a bit, but it's for 99 in a 99-seat theater. So, which is fun.
How are you handling that, the Groundlings, like with COVID and stuff? Are people, can they just come on in? Do they show their card? What are you doing?
We haven't opened up back yet. We've been doing online classes, and we've been doing some online shows, but those are, not the same. So hopefully in the next 4 or 5 months, maybe there'll be in-person shows. And I think you probably have to show your vaccine card, I would guess, or something like that. I don't know exactly how it's going to work yet. I think we're sort of waiting to see how other people handle it.
Right.
I assume Broadway is going to open back up around the same time, and I don't know how they're going to do it, because we can do a show. The problem is with us is we have a 99-seat theater, so people are kind of crammed together. Whereas, I guess, on a Broadway show, you could space people out, but you can't afford to do a Broadway show.
I was just going to say, that's not where the money's going to come. The Groundlings are probably going to do very well, because you don't have the overhead of millions of dollars. So you probably can get butts in the seats. And I think as far as Broadway, like my mother and her friends, they're mostly going to be gearing up towards off-Broadway, because that's something that they could probably fund, and people could probably come see that, and it's a big enough space, and you can probably move, get 2 seats here, 2 seats here, 4 seats here, and have some rules, and still be able to make a little money, as well as I know that they're still gonna be putting up Music Man.
Yeah.
That's still coming. I don't know how they're going to handle that, especially, I mean, the cost for that alone. People don't Broadway musicals are really freaking expensive.
Very expensive. Yeah. Yeah. Very expensive.
And then to convince people to come sit, within a certain, you're only a few seats away from somebody else. So you got to convince people that coming inside is going to be okay.
Yeah. Are you from New York?
I am.
Yeah. Are you as well?
No, I'm actually in North Carolina right now.
Oh, how do you guys know each other?
We met by accident. So I had signed with a syndication company, and they were taking me around to all the big stations that I was going to be on all over the country. And I didn't have a producer. I had like some idiot that I knew from when I used to do traffic, And Anthony was sitting there, and they threw him on. They said, "Hey, you just produce her show while she's here in North Carolina." I was at the station in Charlotte.
Yeah.
Produce her show. And I took a banana and I stuck it in yogurt and I ate it. Now, remember, this is like me like 10 years ago. I was
during
way hotter.
Break. Yeah.
Yeah, during a break. But I ate it I didn't mean to eat it seductively, but it's a banana dipped in yogurt. I didn't have a spoon, And he made a comment. He's like, aren't you too old to be sitting there in a mini skirt eating like that? Aren't you too old for that? I was all of 30, 31. and I looked over at him and I said, aren't you too old to be wearing Abercrombie and Fitch?
Finch.
And he said, Finch. And I said, you're an idiot. And then it was like love at first sight. It was like, or hate at first sight. I don't know. It worked.
13 years later,
here we are.
We were doing, we were on.
Did you grow up in the city?
I grew up in the city. Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school and stuff?
I went to Dalton for 5 minutes and then got kicked out. So I'm very proud of that. And ended up at some, nothing I can say on the air, but, I'll email you.
It involved a football team.
It involved a football team. Yeah. We didn't have a football team at Dalton. At least I wasn't there long enough. You're from Florida, aren't you?
I am, but I spent a lot of time in New York, and I know a number of people that, grew up there. And
oh, okay.
My parents are from there, so.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I noticed on your Instagram, like you're always coming back to see a lot of theater, unless you're just borrowing other people's playbills and photographing them.
Oh no, I do love coming to see theater, and I love it. It's great stuff.
I mean, do you still have tons of friends that are in theater that you come see them, or do you go see a show? Like, what's the motivation?
I'll see anything. I'll see anything. Mostly just to see things. Yeah, it's not even to see friends. It's just to see to see things that maybe are good, or I don't know. There's something about walking into a theater that I just love. I don't know what it is.
Right. Yeah. No, it's the live. It's everything about it. It's the live. It's the theater. It's the people. It's the fact that you're on stage and there's some woman coughing. You know what I mean? The fact that it's all happening right there. It's kind of
I
exciting.
Also, love the mechanics of the theater. Like I this thing behind me. Like this. I made this where's this song? I made this little theater once for somebody. That's like an actual little working. It was meant to be it was like an itinerary for
oh my God,
a trip I was taking the person on. And so it's like a working little theater with things that, let's see here, things that come out of the ground.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh, that's cool.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. I think I just I don't know, something about the actual thing of, I don't know. I just like theaters. What can I say?
That's pretty cool.
Just like theaters. Anyway, so yeah.
So now you flying back and forth to Ontario. How you working?
Vancouver, you mean?
Vancouver. Sorry.
No, we're done for the season. So hopefully we're back in August for the third season would be the hope. So we'll see. We should find out pretty soon. But hopefully, What I'm curious. What other? Do you watch the show as well, Anthony, or no?
No. Good. Sorry.
He only watches Letterkenny. Don't talk to him.
I watch Letterkenny and Silicon Valley. That's pretty much all I watch.
Yeah, so don't talk to him.
You watch Barry? It's the same, same.
No, I haven't seen that yet. I only watch what Cooper tells me to watch, and I don't think Cooper has told me to watch that yet.
No, I told you to watch Barry. I told you how great it was. It's really, really well written. And Andrew plays Henry Winkler's son, Leo, in it, right? So
very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good memory. I don't know if I would remember the name of the character. Good job.
No, because I have to say, like, that's the first. I think that's the first time I noticed you. I was like, this guy's charming, and then I realized I was like, but it's also familiar. So I had to look back and be like, because the thing is, you know how it is. Like, I don't know how you watch television, but I watch with IMDb open, so I could be like, oh, what else has this guy been in, and how do I know him? And you know, I like to know those things.
Same here. I agree. But what other? Did you be watching this season of Zoe's as well?
The complete, yeah. Of course, I'm watching season 2.
Loves it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's so well written. It's so well. And again, as a theater kid, as somebody who my mother threw me on a stage when I was a kid, which we'll get into in a second because I know you started at like 7. Same here. My mother was like, she's gonna be famous. Like she wanted me to be like the singer that she never was, you know. But I think what I really love about Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist that's really special, I think, is that they find creative ways to work songs in. It's not obvious. Yeah. You know, which is really clever, which is why I think the only musical that I actually enjoyed was Mamma Mia for that reason, because the songs weren't obvious. Like the older women sang the young, hot songs, you know, and it was just sort of unpredictable. And I find that with the show you're on, every time you open a script and you find like what song you'll be singing, aren't you like, awesome, this is what? Yeah. Like
I've also gotten very lucky to sing. The songs I've gotten have been songs that I really like too. So that's been a good, you know, very lucky. No, it's exciting. It's really fun. And then you know that you're going to be like focused on working on those things and working on singing, learning the song, and then recording it and then learning the choreography. And it's like a challenge every time, you know?
Right.
So it's really fun. It's very, very fun, especially when you get to do something with somebody else too. Like, you know, I've gotten to do stuff with my wife on the show, you know, and learning the dances with her. It's been really fun. Yeah.
Right. Did they make you audition for this?
No.
Okay. That's good. Because I figured you have this huge reputation and you start out on Broadway and it's like.
Well, I don't know about that, but I knew the writer of the show, and the part was so small in the pilot that I think he was like, I don't know who I'm going to get to do the 4 lines in the pilot, that I won't know what they're capable of. And so he called me and said, would you want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I mean, I love musicals and I love the script, and sure, of course. And then, you know, luckily it turned into something more. So yeah, so that was lucky. Yeah, it was a good, very, very lucky that I got to do that. And then it
wasn't lucky. You're really good at what you do. I mean, you're like a Swiss Army knife. You know, you sing, you dance, you act, you write. I mean, it's amazing to me that, I don't know how do I say this nicely. How are you not more famous? Like, I feel like, I'm serious. Like, you should be a household name. Like, I see people all the time that are, you know, their names, you know, and you watch them, you're like, they suck. What is this? What am I even watching here? And then like Andrew Leeds, like here, you are somebody that is true. You're a true talent. I mean, really through and through. And your creativity just emanates in so many ways. It's amazing to me, you know, how many things you can do.
That's really nice. That's very, very kind. Thank you. That's very, very sweet. I don't know what to say to that except for
no, it's true. I mean, look, own it. You know, when people say you guys are good on the radio, we're like, yeah, we have a lot of fucking awards. Of course we are. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So we've talked about it before, but Henry Winkler people have said he's the nicest guy in Hollywood. Is it true?
He's tied with maybe with Ray Romano.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, I'd say they're tied. I mean, no offense to either one of them. They're both just really lovely people. I have to say, Henry is extremely nice. He's been so kind to me. He's so lovely. He'll out of the blue, I'll get a text from him saying, "Hello, son." Like, just wanted to say, I hope you're having a great day. He's very, very sweet. So it was weird because I saw his real son on the street in New York, and I sort of looked at him like, you know,
brother.
And I was like,
are we related? No.
He didn't seem to recognize me, which means either he doesn't watch the show or he just doesn't want to be in competition with me.
Right.
But he's very nice. But Ray Romano also so sweet. And yeah, I've been very lucky that I think, like, strangely, like, the better the show, I think the nicer the people.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. And I've just gotten like, yeah, everybody's like, a lot of the people I've been working with lately have just been really kind people. that I don't know, like I mean, as we're saying this, I'm just thinking of all these people that are just like so lovely. I mean, Mary Steenburgen, I mean, I don't know if you're going to find nicer than that. I mean, she's great. And her husband, obviously, but we're going to give Mary the credit because I feel like everybody always gives Ted the credit. So I would say Mary is the nicer one this time. Although
that's good.
Would tell you that Ted's a nicer one, but I think Mary.
That's good. Okay, because she seems really genuine. Like when I see her in interviews, and she seems like a very sweet, kind person.
The best, just the best. These people are the best. Bill Hader is very nice. They're all really nice. I mean, it's like, well, listen, maybe they're not nice. I don't. Maybe I'm getting them on good days, but everybody that I've had recently to work with, where I've been like, oh, who knows what this person's going to be like? They've just couldn't be nicer. I mean, Bill Hader came up to me the first day and just was like, some people don't even talk to you. Like, he wasn't even in the scene with me, and he's just like, I want to say hi. Where are you from? Like,
wow,
wow. He's directing, writing these things, starring in it. Took the time to do that. So it was really lovely.
Right. Right. That's really, and it shows in the show too. I mean, the show is it seems like a really cohesive, well-written show. And you could tell people, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, everyone's professional, so you can't really tell if they enjoy being in the environment, but I feel like you kind of can, there's either chemistry or there isn't. I don't think you can fake chemistry.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I there are some who I think are very good at chemistry. I think they're faking it. I think they're good at it.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, I think some people are naturally just like, I've met people who have chemistry with everybody.
Like who? Let's dish.
Henry Winkler's son.
Henry Winkler has chemistry with everybody. I mean, because he's so open and so available, and you're very drawn to him, and he's the guy that hugs everybody. Even right as COVID was starting, we had a table read for Barry for the next season. And everybody was like a little bit like, we don't know what's happening here with the COVID stuff, and I remember thinking he should be the person that we're careful with, right? Because he's a little older than some of the other people, and he was like, "Oh, come here, give me a hug." I'm like, I don't know. Be responsible.
I don't want to kill you. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I had mentioned earlier, and I wanted to kind of ask you about this. I think it's interesting that you have been acting since you were a child. Yeah. And usually so I do a lot of like talking head stuff because all the books I write. And one of the questions I get asked a lot as someone who's like an expert in celebrity, I'm in this whole new True Hollywood Stories series. And one of the questions I get asked a lot is about child stars. And you see like the Lindsay Lohans and, people who have gone off the rails or whatever. That's the exception rather than the rule, I always say. Because I think there's like 10 more Justin Timberlakes and Scarlett Johansson than there are Lindsay Lohans.
Right.
And you're another good example. I mean, you've been doing this since you were like 7?
Yeah. I mean, the difference there is that I'm not nearly, those people, Lindsay Lohan was extremely famous at such a young age. But I also think that, I don't know, maybe just certain people are just more predisposed to certain things. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I also think starting in theater might have been a different situation because I was around a lot of adults who were very, even though they were not even that much older. When I did the show Les Mis for like 2 years, and actually, funnily enough, the creator of Silicon Valley and Barry, Alec Berg, is actually married to one of those adults that I was on tour with Les Mis with. I mean, at the time she was probably 22, which is seems so. At the time, I was like, "Oh my god,
so much older, right?"
Adult, but the truth is, she wasn't actually that much older. But I had all these adults like her who were like, who were. They treated me like an adult. Like I would go out with them after the show. At the time in the the early 90s or whatever, I could go to any bar and they didn't care. It was a different situation. It's just a different world. So like we would go out till 2-3 in the morning, and everybody treated me like an adult, and it was lovely. But I have some very vivid memories of I was backstage once. I think I said I remember being like we were like putting on makeup before the show, and I said something like, "Oh, he's an asshole," or something like that. And I remember one of the women being like, what'd you say? And I was like, oh, well, I said he's an asshole. And I don't know what she said to me, but it was definitely like, oh, not okay. Not okay. So, and I remember, this is so stupid. I'm still embarrassed about it. I remember going out to dinner with a kid. I was doing a musical in St. Louis, and I remember we went out to dinner, and the waiter came, and everybody like pooled their money or whatever, and whatever the tip, whatever it was $100 or whatever. And I was like, I don't know, 11 years old or whatever, and I think I said to the person when I handed them the money, like, you know, something like, keep the change for yourself, or something that was just like, just a little bit like, could be construed as condescending or not.
Right.
Kind. And those adults turned on me hard. You know what I mean? Like, and I didn't even mean anything by it. I think I just thought it was funny, or like I'd heard someone say it.
Right.
In a movie
Saw it on a movie.
Yeah. But I remember those moments. And so in a way, growing up with a lot of it, when you're on a movie set, it's not quite like that. But when you're on a tour with people, or you're doing a show with someone, a play or a musical, it's like it's a family more. And so in a way, I had all these parents,
right,
kind of, that were always sort of noticing things, and they were kind, but I think that maybe that helped. I also think my mom's, I have a great
That's
mom.
That's it. I think that's a lot of it, because when you think about like Lindsay Lohan's mom and Britney Spears' parents, I mean, when the child is making the money and the child is the person who's like famous and doing all the work, the roles reverse, like the relationships reverse, where suddenly like the kid's in charge. And I remember hearing stories of like some, young celebrities who would say to their parents, I'm not giving you an allowance.
Right.
And I think that's a really hard role for a kid when they're the ones who are making the money and making the decisions in a house, and you're just a kid. Like, your frontal lobe isn't developed. You don't understand the consequences of your actions. You're just like doing stuff and saying stupid stuff, and it's not like you shouldn't like chastise yourself for what you said to the waiter. I mean, you couldn't make decisions right yet. You were a child. You know what I mean? You were a kid, and kids say stuff like that. I mean, believe me, kids say way worse than that. But it's interesting that you are the kind of person that resonated with you. Your own words resonated with you, because the people that were role modeling for you, your own parents and the adults around you, were modeling something more positive. And I think it's like that in theater. I worked with, I don't know if you know the name Win Handman.
Yeah.
So I used to work with Win Handman, and he had produced
a documentary about him on Netflix, right?
Yeah, there is. Yeah. And it's funny because when he died, his assistant texted me, because I was super close with him. He was my acting coach, and he had produced a play that I'd written at the American Place Theater. And the one thing I do remember about being in that Win world, and in that the theater world I was in was like this Sam Shepard sort of like John Leguizamo.
Yeah.
John Leguizamo. Why can't I say
that? You got it.
What happened to me there? I don't know. That world was, more straight theater, and everybody was really respectful and really nice. And if you said an unkind word ever, like, people did not let you get away with it. Or Win would sit you down and say, now listen, that's not how we talk to each other. That's not how we talk about each other. And that doesn't help the creative process. And it was like, and I was really young at the time, just like you. I mean, not 7, but I was, super young. I was like a teenager. And, I learned very early that there's certain environments that and they'd say, you're very lucky to be here. You're very lucky to be here. There's a lot of kids that are probably as talented as you that are not here, and you're here because, you happen to be. So it's definitely a vibe.
And also, I had when I went on tour for 2 years with Les Mis, and I had a chaperone, and she was great. I have to say, like, she was probably stricter than my actual mom. So, like, in a way, I kind of lucked out, maybe, because I got a sense that, like, I think I was able to cobble together a lot of different viewpoints on things to some degree. Strangely though, I actually think that growing up like that, I would expect that I would be like the most liberal person I know, right? And I don't, and I'm strangely not somehow. Like I'm not like political or anything, but I just noticed that the people around me are like so much more, whatever you want to say, maybe politically aware that than I am, and probably way more liberal than I am in many ways. So it's interesting also that like I don't know where I don't know where
the Florida in you.
Maybe it's
that's what it is.
But it's interesting because I would think that growing up in that environment would have made me, but maybe that's not what creates, maybe that's not ultimately what makes you have certain beliefs, or,
Right.
There could be any, number of things. I mean, I also went to Stanford, which is also a very probably liberal place, but perhaps I was formed more by studying computer science there, and maybe that's what sort of shaped my brain and how I think, and than the people there, for example.
Right.
And helped you make an app about pizza. So
that's right, Slice Line.
Slice Line.
I wish that part came back because I thought it was so funny. But it wasn't funny. He was such an idiot. But
it rhymes and it's a pun at the same time.
Yeah, that's right. That was the. That's right. It rhymes. Yeah, and it's right. It's a rhyming pun. Right. That's right.
It's a rhyming pun. And so you've actually been on two of my favorite shows, House and Silicon Valley.
Another very nice individual, Hugh Laurie.
Mm.
See, what the hell? Where's he at now?
No.
Was he on Veep when you were on Veep?
No, we didn't overlap.
Okay.
On Veep. Yeah, he's such a good guy. Very, very generous and caring with other actors. I noticed, and that when people have jobs like that, they're exhausted.
Right.
So like they're like in every scene. It's just like the amount of work, the amount of memorization that goes into a job like that.
Killing the accent, and then he's got a limp, and it's a whole thing that goes into that.
So yeah, but just still so kind. And then there are other times when I've worked with people that just not that nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so do you decide you're not going to work with them again, or is it like
no. Anything?
Right? You can't say no to work. Yeah.
No, I mean, and just people that are just like but everybody knows it. It's not like a surprise. It's like everybody on set, like, yeah, that's how they are. That's
Mm-hmm.
Although now, as things have started to change, we'll see if that behavior is tolerated anymore.
That's a really interesting point. I was thinking that same thing is going to happen on Broadway. Broadway is going to be like really politically correct. Like some of the theater that went on like before COVID, some of those plays would never, ever be able to take place now. Like I think we're going to see like a lot of wokeness in theater. And I got to tell you, I think it's going to kill theater because I think not everybody can relate to it. The assumption that everybody that goes to theater is somehow like really liberal, and really, woke. I think they're going to alienate a lot of people.
I agree. It would be nice if we could have a little more of a subtle transition,
right?
And recognize that there is a good balance to be found. I think, but yeah, I wonder, with like the Scott Rudin stuff. With I mean, it's kind of amazing that everybody's known forever that he's
right.
But at the same time, you just wonder. I've worked with a lot of directors, a lot of theater directors who are, I would call. Sorry about that.
That's okay. No, it's real life. Anthony's dog comes running in.
Yeah,
I throw a stapler across the room.
We just got through saying what a nice guy you are.
But I worked with a lot of directors who were not particularly nice, but I would say that they've also been great directors. And part of it for me probably was just to have a little bit of a thicker skin about it, and not take everything quite so personally, because I think they got good stuff out of me. And I think that they created really, really wonderful productions of things. There are some people who are unnecessarily mean, obviously, and crazy. Yeah. There's crazy people all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's especially in your industry.
Yeah, I bet you in investment banking too. I bet you everybody is a little out of their minds. So it's just a matter of how how much they let show. And I think when people are, maybe people in the arts are a little bit more free with how much they're willing to let show, because that's what they do for a living, right?
Right.
So,
yeah.
You know,
it's a good point.
But Mariska, who you just worked with, is I know is to be very, very. She's been doing that for however many years, and she's still probably really nice to everybody.
Okay, so nice isn't even the word to describe her. When I first met her, I dated a director on Law and Order many, many years ago. So I was on the set, and she was working. She just started the Joyful Heart Foundation because, okay, so think about this. Like, so she plays a role. It was almost like what happened to you with the pizza thing. You know, she plays this role, and suddenly girls are sending her letters about that they've been sexually assaulted, and what should she do, and could she help? And she realized like this was more than just a part that she was playing. Like this was a responsibility. So she started the Joyful Heart Foundation, and I had just started like writing and stuff like that. So she was like, will you come write for me? So I worked for her website and her foundation for a little while. And I'm telling you, like, she's probably one of the nicest bosses I've ever had. Like every day she was like, are you sure? Are you okay writing this? Am I giving you enough of a deadline, or do you want more money? I mean, she was always worried, like, because it wasn't an area she knew a lot about. So she wanted to make sure that she wasn't making me unhappy. And I was like, girl, what we're doing here is important. I would do it for free, except I got bills to pay. Otherwise I would totally do it for free. You know,
that's amazing. Yeah. She's, I know people that have worked with her, and a friend that's really close with her, and yeah, she's just lovely. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So yeah, there's crazy people everywhere. And then there's other people that are really good at hiding it.
Oh,
right. Yeah. That's really interesting.
I really appreciate you spending your Friday night with us.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much.
It was a blast. And you guys are awesome.
And
when do you hang on a second, Anthony? When do you find out about Zoe coming back for a third season?
Within the next 2 weeks, I'm going to guess.
Oh, really?
What are they waiting for? Of course it's got to come back.
Vote in there's a USA Today poll to like save shows. So vote in that poll. Maybe it'll help. I don't know.
Does it really need a poll? I mean, just watch the show. I'm telling you,
Jane got a Golden Globe nomination. The only Golden Globe nomination in all of network television this year was for Jane Levy on Zoe. So yeah,
right.
Yeah,
made a sociopath cry.
maybe we should put that on a quote on T-shirts.
It's all yours.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, yeah. Hopefully we'll be back and we can make you cry some more.
Okay, good. So we got Zoe, we got Barry's, and what else? Barry, and what else are you working on?
Working on. I just did an episode of a show called Why Women Kill. It's on CBS All Access that my friend, a good friend, Mark Cherry created. And working on on helping direct and helping sort of shape a musical that my partner is creating, and she's been writing songs for, and we're recording an album, a concept album with an amazing a record producer. And so, so working on that, and I'm excited about that, but that's, we'll see how that progresses. But yeah.
Great. Well, we are here for you. Anything that you're promoting and working on, we are here for you. We have a multinational, international, worldwide audience that is all yours.
That's so nice. Thanks. Well, maybe if there's anybody else from Zoe's, I'll try to snatch for you.
I would love that. Thank you so much. That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. No, totally am. And I'll try not to embarrass them.
No.
Like I embarrassed you.
You didn't embarrass me at all. This is a joy. You guys are awesome. So good to meet both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Thank you for being here.